We'll move on to item 5B, which is our high school graduation report, and Mr. Hay is here to brief us, I guess, on sort of his perspective on the graduation this year. What worked and what didn't
It went
work.
well. My report's over. No. Well, just a few reminders of some of the things. It was, I think, much anticipated with all of the new tweaks and updates that were going on, but a litany of them as I was trying to go through and remember everything that was updated for this year. The plans were overhauled for both an indoor and an outdoor ceremony. We ended up with an indoor ceremony. We had rain that just wouldn't quit. For the indoor, we reversed the setup. Well, it quit after the ceremony started, Mr. Gorder. I looked outside just to make sure. I think one of the more subtle things was simply that the ceremony indoors was reversed. What that allowed us to do was the primary door that traffic flows in and out of then wasn't immediately bottlenecked by having the stage there. So it allowed folks to get in and out of the gym much easier. The stage setup, some tweaks were made there. One, most notably, the podium was pulled back so that the students would walk in front of the podium. They'd have less access to a microphone. And then the tables that were used to house the diploma covers were flanking either side of the podium. Again, just providing a very nice visual from the audience, but a great barrier from the stage point of view to make sure that the microphone was protected. Another piece that was changed, and this one is thanks to Dave Stutzman and his team. He had pictures of all of the previous graduations, and he has pictures of this one in the setup. But in some of the old pictures, and it was sort of on a year, off a year, there were speakers set up in front of the stage. Sort of, if you can picture the stage, the two sides where the ramps are at, there would be speakers set up right in front of those, sometimes that went all the way up, taller than I am. And he said that probably obstructs the view for some people at both wings. So we worked with the sound folks to make sure that didn't happen. Professional photographer. Again, we booked him. He and his team took pictures both on stage and off stage with a nice backdrop that we had made just for graduation. I talked to him this morning. He's had about a third of our graduating class order pictures from him already, and they still have orders coming in. So that's a pretty good number. We will get a DVD of all of the pictures as a district. It hasn't arrived yet, but he said it's in the mail. On the realm of decorum, one of the ideas tossed around at our faculty meeting was to add gowns. And so this year, when that idea came up, we only had time to get the gowns ordered and available for everybody who's going to be on stage. Mrs. Sardi and Pam and Deb and myself and everybody, and Dr. S, whoever else was on stage with us. Next year we hope to have the rest of our faculty and staff who wish to participate in the ceremony also in gowns, helping to lead that procession and again to add to that sense of decorum at the ceremony. Lineup. Those of you who are in the back room behind the curtain, you saw that the lineup has changed. We updated that to try and make it a process so that as the students who are in or out of the lineup changes literally up until the last minute, we can quickly update the lineup, have it ready for students. They can easily find their spot and know that they're in the correct place. Worked well. We didn't read anyone's name who wasn't there, and the opposite either. We didn't miss anyone's name who was there. We added an opportunity for Mrs. Zardi as the district administrator to receive the graduates during the ceremony as part of the official script. And we tweaked around the MC and format change, most notably again this year, to add in a time for a moment of silence to pay some respects. The last and I think biggest change, most talked about obviously in Steve's article, was the change from Friday night to Saturday morning. I think it had some unintended positive effects. One was the temperature was much easier to control in the morning for a 10 a.m. ceremony than it would have been by midday or late afternoon after the heat had baked down on a gym like that for that length of time. Again, Dave Stutzman and his team did a phenomenal job, both with setup, managing air quality. He had fans sucking the hot air out through the wrestling loft and fans bringing the cool air in through the open doors. So it was a team effort with a lot of help from lots of folks, and very proud of how it came off. We've received, I think, lots and lots of positive feedback. So, I don't know if you have any questions or...
The students are much calmer at that time of day also. They were very laid back, just sitting in their seats waiting to march in. And was there some talk about next year maybe expanding the number of people in their gowns from colleges, the teachers that were helping? Some of them were not in robes, but it looks so nice to have everybody in their different robes, and students were asking the differences between the robes, some that had their doctorates and some masters and some just the bachelor's.
Our faculty and staff are very excited to participate. We just didn't have time this year to get them all ordered.
So next year. Yeah.
Next year, Ms. Weaver's already working to collect where people went and what their major was so that we can get the appropriate colored hoods and gowns ordered for them. But I think it demonstrates, and I would add, I would want to open that invitation up not only to the high school staff and faculty, but to the rest of the district. It takes everybody coming together to make these kids successful and get them to walk across the stage, and it's a very proud moment for everyone who's been involved.
There was only one snafu as far as I know, and I don't think it was anybody's fault. I think it was just the way it was, and that was the military.
You're right.
And I don't know if we can tweak that anyhow next year.
Yeah, that was a communication gap where we had the person who was handing out the military cords was checking them off on that particular list, and that list never got updated in the marching order list. So if you were there again, we read off the names of those who had enlisted, and we realized within seconds we had missed some, as I saw students standing up whose names I didn't call. Someone quickly at the side compiled those names, we read them, and then again asked everyone whether their name had been read or not.
It was handled very well. It's just...
Yeah, we should be able to avoid that in the future.
Another thing to look at would be how we exit afterwards. There were people already coming out of the gym, out of the auditorium when we were trying to get into the cafeteria, and then people are also exiting. It got to be bottlenecked right over by that cafeteria.
Okay. So
maybe just think about how we exit. Maybe have people remain seated in both areas until the students are in the cafeteria, and then
we might be able to
them.
Utilize some of our ushers more effectively over in that area too.
That would be the only thing. I think everything else flowed very smoothly.
You won't have to worry. You only get rain every 10 years in the morning on Saturday for graduation. So.
Somebody take that down.
I've had 3 children. One has been outside. The other 2 have been inside.
They were all at night this morning.
True. Well, one was morning.
Now, Mr. Gorder has an extra investment in next year's graduation.
Exactly. So
Remember
we'll see
that.
where his goes.
Well, that would be good, Mrs. Deming, because I did have 1 out of 4 outside.
Oh, okay, yeah. So then that's
But that was
good, same statistics there.
I would point out too, we did have the additional speaker this year from Robert Cooper from the students representing this building, and
Did very well.
She did well, yes. So the whole process for selecting a student that would speak representing the students from the alternative program worked very well, and let Mandy and Donna know that we appreciate their efforts to ensure that that speaker was prepared and had an appropriate message for students as well.
And I just have to say it's a tremendous honor as a school board member to be able to do that, and I hope that each of us has that opportunity before going off the board. It really is. That's the highlight of being
it's
on
fun.
the board.
The only other topics that I would put on your table for future discussion or not would be the date for graduation. This year, with the way that Memorial Weekend fell so early, we ended up with seniors out a full 2 weeks before everyone else, which has ups and downsides to it. But it's at least, I think, worth thinking about, if not talking about, is Memorial Weekend the right weekend every year? I think probably most years it's fine, but perhaps not every year. And then the impact that does or doesn't have on when seniors are released from school. And I don't have particular thoughts for you on that at this point in time. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hay. Yeah, I did attend. I enjoyed being there. I enjoyed being in the seats and sitting the whole time and watching Mrs. Deming and Miss Bukta stand there and for quite a while to hand out.
And see, I dropped a number of them.
I guess I didn't notice that, but it went really well. It was a very nice production, so
Your
thank you
muscles
very
get
much.
sore after a while smiling the whole time, trying to be excited for each one coming across.
Now, Dr. S gets the award for the most hugs. Standing at the end, I got to watch, and he got more hugs than anyone else.
But you got more money.
I did. I made out well.
Yeah.
I saw that. There were, I don't know what exactly.
My hand literally was green at the end of the
Okay.
ceremony from all of the copper, but that's okay. I had lots and lots of
Maybe
pennies.
it's better than what they've done some years.
So it was great. The kids were great. The audience was great. It really was fun.
Excellent. Thank you very much.